Okay, so we now recorded. So let me get started in saying that we are the Public Works Committee. Today is September 20th, 2021. The time is 9:30, and I'm Representative Jay Walk from District 5, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. So why don't we take a roll call, see who's here, and then I have something to say before we all get started. So, Lisa, you want to Lisa's going to, so I can take the roll call. So who's, are we all here?
Well, let me do roll call and then you can, all right.
Okay, then I'll do my thing. Okay.
Frank.
I'm here.
Frank, are you here?
Frank's here.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Nice to see you. Peter, are you here?
I am here.
Good to see you too. Karen, are you here?
I am present in the house.
Excellent. Good to be here. Scott. Scott Nickel. I saw you riding your bike over the weekend. Is Scott absent then? Okay. Rick, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Welcome aboard. And finally, our surprise new member, John, are you here? Mr. Kuhn, are you here?
I saw him at the
All right.
meeting, but I don't know whether
Yeah,
he stayed.
you might not know how to do this and get on.
You might not know how to know the number to get in.
Right. Okay, so he's out.
Yeah, he just might not realize that. So we're going to put him as an absent, but he's a smart guy. He'll probably figure it out. All right. What's that?
He is a smart guy. So, here, let me start, Lisa, and just tell everybody. So, Lauren Bove is no longer, as I guess maybe we all know that, or we don't know, she's no longer on the RTM due to family situation. So she resigned, and so I had asked, and Lauren was taking the minutes, so I had asked Lisa if she can take over as secretary, and she said yes. So what I want to do is I want to just take a vote with everybody and just make sure that's okay with everybody. Is that okay with everybody? Are we all in agreement?
Yeah.
Aye.
Fine with me.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
It's a unanimous vote, no abstentions, no
Are
no's.
you sure? Because, it's a pretty, juicy position.
You're up for it, Liz. You're up for it.
Well, you're right. Your handwriting's a lot better than mine.
Well, I'm typing it in right now as we speak. All right, carry on.
So congratulations, Lisa. You're now our new secretary.
Thank you.
Okay, so then why don't we why don't we start with the what do we do first? Where are we? With the Cherry Street.
Presentation order was Cherry Street, Library,
Right.
Harbor Management, and then the ARPA funds. You want to start with Cherry Street?
Yeah, that's fine with me. Is it fine with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. So are we all in agreement with what's going on with Cherry Street?
I am.
Yes.
So we take a
Okay,
vote.
yes.
So all those in say yes, and any
Yes.
no's? Any abstentions?
Oh, wait, I need somebody to make a motion.
Or discussion.
Gotta make a motion.
Yeah, you're right. Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Karen will make a motion
So
to
Karen will take
Seconded by?
Second by who?
Yep.
I'll second it, Peter.
Okay,
All
so
right.
Peter
So
seconds.
here's the thing. Since I can't see you, and I don't really know voices very well, you got to say your name. Okay?
Fair enough.
That makes fair enough.
Thanks, Peter. All in favor, right?
Yep, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions?
No.
Okay, so that passes. Finally.
Do I hear a motion for the library grant?
I'll make a motion to approve the library grant as presented.
And I'll second it.
That would be Jay, correct?
That would be Jay. Sorry, Lisa.
I'm going to get you all trained, at least
We
by
gotta
the
get used to
end of this
it.
meeting.
So Jay seconded.
So Karen made the motion. Jay seconded. Any discussion?
So you want to go right
Jay, you
to
want
a
to call
vote?
the vote?
Yeah, we want to. So why don't we take the vote and say everybody in favor?
Aye.
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 Any noes?
Aye.
And any abstentions? So that passes. Okay, great. So let's go to the next
was
one.
Harbor Management. It
Who wants
went
to
out
do a
of
motion
order.
to-
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the harbor management proposal as presented.
I'll second it, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody say aye?
Aye.
Anybody say no?
Aye.
Any noes? How about any abstentions? Great, that passes.
Okay, so
Cool
the
beans.
ARPA funds. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the ARPA fund allocation as presented.
Who wants to second that?
I'll second it, Peter.
Peter, thank you.
Go, Peter. All right, and let's take a vote. Anybody, any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. They said that there were 3 changes that the Board of Selectmen approved today that were different from the one that was presented to us 2 months ago. I have the Fairfield FTC is getting an additional $50,000, and they're spending $125,000 for record retention. And can somebody remind me the third?
Was the third one Wakeman?
Yeah, the third
I'm
one was
sorry?
Wakeman, I think.
But they took it off the table, I thought, because they realized that I thought that he said that there was
Wasn't ready
it was
or
not
something.
approved. Yeah, it was too late, and they didn't feel like they could give them that kind of money to win the game or something.
Was
Because
that
there were so many
Wakeman?
other people that's what I heard.
Okay. I totally missed it. I don't know where my head went.
Did anyone else hear that, or am I hearing things?
No, you were right. It was Wakeman.
So Wakeman defunded or
Well, they came to the table late in the game, and then that was the third one that was going to be changed. But I thought I heard them say that they chose not to include that because if they did
Not
that,
ready.
there were so many other projects that were also asking for support, and I think they probably felt it was a little unfair for them to come so late, and then they would have to explain to everybody else why they didn't get their share.
I think that's right. That's right. It's Jay. That's right.
So I have another question about FTC. Does anybody know if Fairfield is still paying their electric bill as part of their lease?
That's a great question. It's Jay.
Because if we're still paying their entire electric bill out of the kindness of some nutso negotiation, I'm really opposed to giving them more money.
Well, we can table the discussion
Wasn't aware.
or hold off on a vote until next week, or we can ask that question. Why don't we do that?
Well, in general, I'm in favor of the ARPA. I might make a motion, and I'm not, I'd like to find out first, but I may make a motion to cut it $50,000 because, it staggers the mind how incredibly blessed FTC is with our generosity.
How much is the grant? The request on that?
I think it was a total of $175,000, but it was the extra $50K to add for more security outside for events.
Oh, right, the outdoor. Yeah, okay.
So your potential. Where do they do the outdoor events? Does anybody know?
In the parking
that would
lot.
be in the parking lot. That's Jay. You're right, Lisa.
I didn't realize that they had concerts in the parking lot, but now that you say that, I think there was one recently. Probably since COVID, they've had more than ever.
Yeah,
I don't think they've always kind of done it in the, I think in the summertime.
Yeah.
I think they've always kind of done a thing on like Fridays, or there was one day of the week I remember getting off the train all the time, and they would have something going on there.
Right. Well, it's a legit question about the electric bill, particularly if it's to purchase more lighting, which means that there's going to be even more bigger bills. So.
Yeah, bigger bill.
Yeah. Just things that make me go,
Not a bad question.
Well, let's table it, right, until we get to the bottom of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to vote on it. We can just table it.
We can all abstain.
Yeah, we can all abstain.
Why don't we officially call the vote and abstain so we can make it official?
All right.
Okay.
So let's call the vote
favor?
like Karen said. Everybody in favor of abstaining?
I'm going to abstain. Karen?
Jay, let's do it like this. All in favor? Dead silent.
All in favor of abstaining. Right.
All abstain.
Aye.
Yay.
All those against from abstaining? So we'll abstain. We're all in favor of abstaining.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Is there anybody else that wanted any additional information?
About the
everybody's
FTC,
happy
Lisa,
with the ARPA funds?
The only thing that does concern me is, and I think this was brought up by Pam, and somebody else may have commented it on as well, that we don't want to get so far afield on this where we get, and this is just a general comment, this isn't specific to the FTC or any particular ask, but, we got to keep in mind that if we can't get out of our own way to approve whatever the projects are that have come up for approval, like Pam said, if we wait until a later date that some other project, because we reject something and it gets put into that fund where we then have to approve a project later, or the RTM that's sitting has to approve a project later, we could potentially, even though it's not imminent, we could potentially lose out on what's essentially, free money from the federal government. So I think we all just need to be very mindful of, even though we might have a pet project in our own district that might benefit our own constituents more than somebody else's district that has a project on the list, we shouldn't necessarily, like Pam said, we have to do what's good for the entire town, not just each particular neighborhood. I'm not personally impacted by Rooster River, but I'm very concerned about Rooster River flooding.
Yeah.
I'm not
Didn't they mention, though, that any unused funds went into a pool to be used for anything that had overages? So it's not money totally lost. They get to allocate it to anything they ran over budget on.
No, but if they don't go over budget on stuff to the extent of those non-allocated funds, and we don't utilize these, this money goes back to the Fed. So we don't want to be lost in the confusion of can't get out of our own way, and then we lose out on something. Essentially, the taxpayers.
When was the last time something ever came in under budget?
I'm not saying something's not going to come in over budget. What I'm saying is we have to be mindful of not ixnaying stuff for a rainy day to hope that a better project comes along that's going to get approval for our particular project or our individual districts is the point. Like, just we can't be looking at this. You can't be looking at this like, oh, I live in the beach area. I represent the beach area. The beach area didn't come up for extensive funding for flood, so I don't want to give Rooster River flooding money, or I don't want to give the town fleet of cars money. We have to really look at this on a more global basis, and I do believe that the flooding issue in the beach area and certainly our downtown area where all of our businesses are and the town hall, that's going to need to be addressed because it's not going away, as Bill Perugini pointed out. It's coming. So whether we do it now,
I served on the Flood Erosion Control Board for 23 years. It's been ignored for far too long.
I don't disagree that it's been ignored.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I remember being years ago, we were discussing buying generators for town hall. I don't know whether that's happened, but I remember discussing that. I don't know whether we paid for that. It's a major problem. I'm nervous about town hall and all the records in town hall. And I think did anybody know, did town hall ever get flooded?
Yeah.
Almost in Sandy. They've now moved all of their historical records and their servers out of the basement.
Right, that's
Wasn't
right.
it Ernesto?
What?
Ernesto, that flooded town hall?
I thought
Way
it was Sandy.
Before Sandy.
Sandy had water in the parking lot around it.
Right.
Yeah, but not that it meant. I'm not going to solve that now.
They had pumps. They had pumps running in the building to keep it dry. If you remember, the YMCA flooded, and they lost all their stuff to run the pool for a while.
That's right. You know, guys, it's Jay again. I just want to say quick. I'll just say quick. The Rooster River affects me and my district. This last storm that we had, and not to get into the whole thing, I mean, it is really horrible. It is really terrible. The homes that already got hit by 2 years ago from that cell that came over us, that rain cell that flooded out all these homes down by Villa, and anyway, you know, they got hit again. I mean, I you know, all by Owen Fish Park, the condominium by the mobile station, all those garages, and you know, in the front part of that building has all got flooded out. It's a major issue. I mean, I'm just glad Brenda's on board. I mean, I've been to press conferences and town hall meetings about it, and I'm not making light because it's just the Rooster River is the problem here, and that, you know, I'm not worried about the flooding over at the beach area. I am also. And Pam was right. You know, we have to do what's good for the whole town. I just wish and then, you know, then you get into air conditioning like we talked about for all the schools, and that's going to cost a fortune to do, which I'm in favor of. But, you know, I don't know. You gotta. There's a lot of things people, you know, need right now, and where all this money is going to go to.
Well, you've got the river behind the Board of Ed building, which is all, the riverbank there is all pretty much filled in with overgrowth, which isn't cleaned out. And if you go east on there, behind the old Volkswagen dealership,
there you go.
The town has a sewer line that goes across the basic river there. It's above ground. It serves as a dam. That's where. Wait, just to interrupt you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. That's where the press conference was at the cemetery that I joined, and what that was about. It was right behind that piece, right where you're talking about behind Volkswagen. I talked to Miller about that. That's they didn't build a new Volkswagen dealership, which they were going to. Volkswagen was going to pay $4 million and put a whole new dealership, but I remember one of the Millers telling me that it was going to cost almost $1 million to stop the flooding into the building, and nobody wanted to pay for it. But I have to tell you something. Bill Hurley, the engineer, when we had this press conference, I mean, you should have seen what was in the Rooster River, in that brook behind where the cemetery, where it goes through the cemetery. It was all debris. There.
Oh, it's terrible. It's all due to debris. It's all due to garbage that's not being cleaned out of these brooks, and that's what's causing these flooding.
If they clean that all out and make it a clean riverbed, you'd get a much better drainage.
100% agree with you. 100%.
And go back in there and look at where the sewer main goes across the riverbed. It's a town-created dam that holds the water back from running out.
That would make
they're well aware of it.
And listen, you guys. Well, I'm sorry?
That would
I'm
make
sorry.
it a dam.
Yeah. I have to tell you one thing that happened at the press conference that I don't know whether you guys were aware of it. And then we had a town meeting, and this woman was there also and spoke. Bridgeport, as you know, gets flooded by the Rooster River also. They got a major issue with the river. So this girl got up at the press conference. When they asked for questions, she got up. I don't know if you know this. I didn't know either. You know, Bridgeport got appropriated $4 million for a study to do a study on the Rooster River, and she asked where that money was, and nobody can give her nobody got an answer. Even DPW.
It's probably Ganem's wine cellar.
They probably used it for other projects or whatever instead of what they were supposed to use for. So
a lot of places at Rooster River and Bridgeport, they put giant concrete walls on each side of it and funneled it into Fairfield at a higher velocity.
Probably what happened. I mean, this, as you know, the flooding comes the Rooster River and the flooding comes all the way from the Trumbull Mall. That's where it begins and comes down to us, and then comes through us.
I grew up living on the Rooster River on Wilson Street, and we played in the Rooster River. We fished, we swam, we did everything in the Rooster River. And for years and years and years, the Rooster River has been a constant struggle because it's almost like when they do something either upstream or downstream, it affects somebody along the way, and then we get these more powerful storms and more intense water, infiltration during these intense downpours, that deluge, whatever you want to call them, and then the new weakness kind of pops up. They fix one problem down here, and it creates another problem either upstream or downstream, and obviously the volume of water on top of that, it just cannot handle what we currently have. So they do need to study all this stuff.
No, you're absolutely.
It eventually jumps out into Ash Creek by BJ's there, and if you started that end and clean it up and work up the river, at least you're going to get a clear flow of it. The other thing is, it's harder for it to flow when you got a coastal storm going on and high tides in the sound. That
it's all pushing it back up. Yeah.
So listen, guys. So when we dredged the pond here at Dogwood Green, the guy who did the dredging offered the state to go up all the way past Easton to Trumbull and start putting these catches in these brooks to catch the debris. But there it goes. They didn't want the state, not to say which. I'm not being political, so it doesn't matter what party. But it was never addressed. And they left.
It wasn't a priority at that time. Probably.
Right, that's right. It wasn't a priority. And the same thing, somebody made a comment. I asked Bill Hurley, the town engineer over here. You guys all know over here by Fairfield Woods, where Fairfield Woods meets Stratfield Road. Somebody asked if they can put a catch underneath. I asked Bill if they can put a catch, or I asked underneath the road to catch the debris before it comes into Dogwood Green. And if the state's not maintaining it like they have in all these years, it's going to be a complete problem. So that's not a solution. So I'm trying to figure out. I've been talking to Bill, and and I know and again, I should get more involved also in all of it, I guess, with the flooding on the other side of town also, because that's an issue and it's a bad issue. And I feel sorry for all the people. I really do. My heart's breaking for the people who had damages in their house. My friend Celeste, she sent me a picture of this last storm in her front yard. It looked like she had like 4 or 5 feet of water in her front yard that went into her basement with like up to halfway up her basement.
I've got a friend that's got a house over by Firestone, just south of Kings Highway there. That's 5 feet of water in his cellar.
Terrible. I feel terrible for these people.
Dead-end streets that no longer drain because they back up against the throughway, and there's no place for the water to go.
And ProServe, that company that comes around and gets out the water and restores your basements and everything, they haven't even been over here. The waiting period is unbelievable to get them to your house.
Well, he had to pump it out himself. Had to replace.
Yeah.
How did you guys make out at
washer and
Dogwood,
dryer.
Jay? Was there any flooding over there?
Well, what happens is that FEMA did a study over here, so you guys know, and only one unit out of all our buildings, the 90 units, over by there's one unit over by how can I forget not by Fair, it's
Montauk?
not Fairfield Woods, it's in Montauk.
Montauk?
But right, yeah, the one unit by Montauk, where the brook goes by this one unit. But I have to tell you, when the storm hit here, I was watching our pond, which the board hasn't done the dredging yet. The pond needs dredging again. But it's so high that the water, it was like a river coming over the fence and the walkway going to our dam, that it was dangerous even to be over there. That's how much water was coming through us. And the dam, where it goes over the dam and on into the brook that goes into Montauk, goes to Assumption Church. It was almost going over the banks, but it doesn't. So, and it doesn't hit our building. I'm on a unit right by the pond, so it goes up to a certain point, and then it doesn't hit the building. But I remember the guy who was dredging. I think Karen, you made this. You just said that. You can when I was president here, I had redone the dam and this whole wall that goes around to where the culvert is, where the water comes from Fairfield Woods into us, and I wanted to fix the complete wall. And he said, if you go and fix part of this wall, you're only going to have flooding somewhere else. You're never going to stop complete flooding. You just got to direct it. And it's a shame. It's a shame. And I'm not blaming the town, and I'm not kind of blaming maybe the state years ago, 10 years ago, whoever was the governor, who knows. But it's like never been a priority. It's like I can't understand this. This is the worst thing anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent, but
understand something. If you've got a river stream coming into a pond and then the rest of the stream going out, you can dig that pond 100 feet deep. And the water level in the pond, when you get all through dredging it, is going to be the same height as the water coming in and the water going out. It's just going to hold more water.
Right. It's going to hold more water. It won't go over into the way it just looked. It would have more depth. It's when let's put it this way, when our pond is, no rain, there's like an island for the ducks. The ducks have an island for themselves. So, it's
I keep saying in my next life, I got to come back to being a consultant for the town of Fairfield. Boy, they spend a lot of money on consultants.
Oh my God! Right?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but consultants, maybe you can appreciate this, but if they tend to come up with what they want for the end result, and then they do their study to justify it. And the Rooster River has been studied before. I know from being on the Flood and Erosion Control Board, there's been studies for this for a long time, and now they're going to do new.
Why haven't they come out with Why haven't they come up with a solution by now?
Because it's constantly evolving. It's not you study it today and you permanently fix it.
It's getting
evolving.
You've got a couple restrictions on the water flow. There's a railroad bridge and the Fairletto Steel Bridge. There's nothing you can do to allow greater flow of water under those bridges. But when you get downstream, you've got to get that whole riverbed cleaned out, so it will flow out of there faster.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
If you increase the velocity of the river, you'll get greater volume of water out of it faster.
That's what he says. The guy who dredged my pond said to me, the water has not when it gets blocked by this debris, it has nowhere to go but outwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Storms though have been, pretty unprecedented levels of intense, in a short period of time water flow. So that's part of this too.
Oh, I've never seen that. 2 years ago, I've never seen Stratfield Road. We were coming home, bringing my wife home from the metro station. It took me almost an hour and a half to get home from the metro station to here. We finally made it on Stratfield Road, and I've never been in my whole life ever been in. I was really, it's like it was like a river on both sides of Stratfield Road. Was like a river.
Right.
We got caught in it, and then we had to turn around, and I ended up going up Melville to get home. But it was scary, and it was every road I was trying to get to was completely flooded out. They had the police had it all blocked off, and especially under the 90, where you go to Staples under that under the highway, and you go around the circle, you make a left Staples. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that floods like incredibly high. That was incredible. I've never seen that hot, you know what I mean? So that has an issue down there also, right where you were saying, even what were you saying by Firestone, right? Yeah, that whole area.
Yeah. Well, in the 70s, the traffic circle, the center of town where McDonald's and Stop and Shop used to flood. And they put, dug that up, huge pipes underneath it to get it out of Ash Creek faster.
Right. And just like you said, monies have to pavings of our roads are, starting to go. They need to be fixed. It's a bunch of stuff money needs to go to. Especially air conditioning.
And the air conditioning, that air conditioning comment, like Pam said, those are not ready because the Board of Ed doesn't have the projects lined up to be able to go. So that's one of the problems that they couldn't spend more money.
They need to get the projects together and then present it to us. And but it needs to be done. I mean, I know teachers who have told me in schools that they can't teach anymore in school because it's so hot. I mean, my kids, Stratfield School was done, and we put air conditioning in the complete school. The third floor of Stratfield Elementary School, during the summer, during the month of May and June, they had to bring all the kids downstairs, and they were teaching them outside the building. There was it was so hot upstairs.
I went to Stratfield and graduated in 1978, and I remember days that it was so hot in that bloody building that we had to go down into the library and put our heads down on the table because it was too damn hot. And that was 40 years ago. So.
Wow. Yeah. So they found, and I'll tell you something funny. After all the building committee meetings I went to for that school, every meeting I went to, and every meeting I got up, they said, any comment? And every meeting I got up and looked right at the chairman. I said, you're putting air conditioning in the school, right? You're not going to tell me at the end that it's not going in? No, it's going in. And they put it in. They actually did it. And the school is like wonderful now that the whole school is air conditioned. I don't understand why Ludlow and the Ward High School wasn't done completely when they did it. Even I remember we had a committee meeting down and Pam was the building was the chairman of the Board of Ed at the time, Pam, and I remember she was for it, and Mill Hill School was just I don't know, I think it was done also. I think Mill Hill was done, but it was like just. Some of these schools didn't even have air conditioning. North Stratfield School had it. But why didn't Ludlow? Why didn't they pay them?
But they didn't have it before.
I think Pam told me at the time when she was Board of Ed, when I asked about Ludlow, she told me it was over, I think, $5 million or something like that that was voted down. They didn't want to pay the money to do the whole building at the time. Now it's penny wise and pound foolish. Now it's going to cost more to do it than if they just would have done it when they built the school. I don't get it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the whole Board of Ed budget. But if you can jump around on things, if you remember, I sent out a big write-up that was several pages long, commenting on all of these different projects. And if you go to Southport, they want to put sidewalks in from the thruway down to, was it Knapp's Highway there? There were sidewalks already on both sides of the street. And I go, are they going to dig those up and put new ones in just for the hell of it?
That's ridiculous.
Oh,
I mean, if it needed it, I can see it.
I mean, drive around and see some of these things, and then you get into the Board of Rec situation.
Guys, I'm going to sign off the call now. It sounds like we're pretty much wrapped up, and I got other stuff I have to do.
All right, so are we done? Are we all done?
To adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting if we could.
And who wants
Yeah.
a second?
I second it.
Who
Peter.
second it? All right, everybody. Like I say every meeting, get home safe.
Who was that?
Peter
vote on it.
Who
seconded.
seconded?
Karen made the motion.
Right, Karen made the
Okay.
motion. Who seconded?
Peter.
Peter.
And we're all in favor. Yay!
All in
Yay,
favor, say
thank you.
aye. All right, get home safe.
10:07.
Drive safe.
Good night.
Bye now.
All right, thanks everybody.
Yeah.
It was a good
Yeah.
conversation.
All right. Bye.
All right, see you guys. Stay well, everybody.